Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about conic sections and specifically we'll talk more about circles. So here we have a cone. We call that a two-sided cone because there is one cone on top and one in the bottom, and each of them are called a nappy. Um, the line that you see here, which is passing through the middle of the cone, is called the axis of the nappy. And also this point that is in the right in the middle of the two cones and it's connecting the two cones together is called the vertex of the cone. Also, we have a plane here that is crossing the cone in different shapes as you see, in different ways as you see here. Depending on how the plane is crossing the cone, we're going to have a different shape as the intersection of the plane and the cone. Now let's see. The first case that you see here, we have this plane which is passing through the cone, but in a way that it is perpendicular to the axis. So this is going to result to a circle, as you see. So the intersection of the plane and the cone will be a circle. So this is how a circle will be created. Now, there are two other cases like circle that the plane is crossing through only one nappy of the cone. That means only one half or one cone here. So for all these cases, what is in common is that they all are crossing one nappy of the cone. Now, depending on how it's crossing the cone, it can create two different shapes. If it's slanted in this way, then it's going to create a parabola. If it's slanted in a way that is basically crossing the two sides of one cone, like this one, crossing this side and this side, and it's also slanted, then it's going to create an ellipse. But if the plane is crossing the two cones on top and the bottom, or we also say two nappies, is crossing both of them, then it's going to create a hyperbola. So these are called conic sections because they are basically intersection of a plane and a cone. Now we're going to talk more about circles in this lesson. The standard form of the equation of a circle is x minus h squared and y minus plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. Now, what is h and k? Those are the coordinates of the center of the circle, and r is the radius of a circle. So let's imagine we have a circle that has a center at 2 and 3, and the radius is 3. Okay, and this will be the equation of the circle. We're going to write x minus h, which is 2. That will be x minus 2 squared plus y minus k. And the k is 3 in this case. So it will be y minus 3 squared equal to r, which is 3 to the power of 2. So this will be the equation of this circle. Now let's see what happens. We have a circle that the center is -2 and -3, and r is, let's say, 2. In this case, if I want to write the equation, I need to write x minus -2 because that's the h value. H is -2, and so x minus -2 will be x plus 2. And the y value of the center, which is the k, is -3. So it's going to be y minus -3, and that will be y plus 3, because negative times negative is positive, to the power of 2. And the radius is 2. You raise it to the power of 2, so it's going to be 2 squared. You can also write, instead of 2 squared, write 4. But this is better, like it looks better because it's going to represent the radius as well. So this is how the equation of a circle will look like. Now, let's look at the example that we have here. We have x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equal to 81. And we want to find the center and the radius of this circle. Okay, so if you look at the standard equation, it's x minus h squared, and we have x plus 3. So I need to see what is that h value that is subtracted from x. And as you see, this could be like x minus negative 3. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. Okay, so now my equation looks like this. It's x minus negative 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared, and it's equal to 9 squared because 81 is 9 squared. Now it's easier for me to identify the center and the radius. The center has h and k value as negative 3 and 1. Okay, and the radius is 9. So I can write here that the center is negative 3 and 1, and radius is equal to 9. So this is how you find the radius and the center of the circle looking at the equation. Now let's look at the next one that we have here. X squared plus y plus 3 squared. So again, I can find the center by finding h and k, which are the values that x and y are subtracted from that number. So I can write the equation in this way. X minus 0 squared plus y minus negative 3 squared, because if I don't have anything after x, that means it was 0. So x minus 0 squared, and here I have plus 3, that was actually y minus negative 3 squared. So now I can identify the center, which is 0 and negative 3. Okay, so the center is 0 and negative 3. Now, what is the radius of this circle? As you see, we have 24 on the right side, and that's basically r squared. As you know, the equation looks like x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. So 24 is r squared, but you know that 24 is not a perfect square. So what I need to do is to just find the square root of 24. And I can just keep it as square root of 24 for the r. So the radius is the square root of 24. Now let's go to the next example. It's asking us to write the equation of a circle with the center 2, negative 4, and the radius of 3 and 3 root 5. Okay, so we're going to follow the same rule that we have for the standard form of a circle equation. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. So the left side of the equation is going to be x minus, this is h, and negative 4 will be the k value. So this is how the equation will. It will be x minus h, which is 2, so x minus 2 squared plus y minus k, and the k is negative 4, so it will be y minus negative 4 to the power of 2 equal to the radius, which is 3 root 5 to the power of 2. Now I can simplify this. Negative times negative is positive, so this will be y plus 4 squared, and then 3 root 5 to the power of 2 will be 3 squared, which is 9, and root 5 to the power of 2, which is 5. So it will be 9 times 5, which is 45. So the equation will look like, we'll have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared equal to 45. I'm sorry, this is not 45, it's squared. Okay, so I just fixed that for you. So x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared equal to 45. If you wonder where did I get the 45 from, that is here. 3 root 5 was the radius raised to the power of 2 means 3 root 5 times itself. Now 3 times 3 is 9, And root 5 times root 5 will be root 25, which is 5. So then we have 9 times 5, which is 45. So that's the equation. Okay, so for the next example, we want to complete the square to write the equation in standard form. So let's see, what do we have here? We have an equation of a circle, but it's kind of messed up and it doesn't look like the standard form that we know. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. It doesn't look like that. Now we want to change this to the standard form, but before that, we need to know how to complete the square and then go back to this equation and complete the terms into perfect squares and write in the standard form. So first of all, let's see what does completing the square mean. Let's go here. We have an example, x minus 5 squared. This is called a perfect square because it's something to the power of 2, so it's a complete square. We call that a complete square or perfect square. Now, how do I expand this? X minus 5 squared is x minus 5 times itself. Now, in order to expand it, I can start by distributing the x here. X times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 5 is plus 25. Now, if we combine the like terms, the negative 5x and negative 5x are like terms, we combine them, then it will be x squared minus 10x plus 25. So this is the expanded form of this perfect square. And see how the terms are related. You see, the first term is x, and the first term in this expression is x squared. The second term is negative 5, and then we have negative 5 squared here. But what is the middle term? That is x times 5 times 2. 2 times negative 5 times x is negative 10x. So this is how the middle term is basically made here. Now, if I'm given an algebraic expression like x squared minus 10x, and I'm asked to change this to a perfect square, what I need to do is to find the missing term and add that to this expression, and then that will be a perfect square. So here my missing term is of course 25. So if I add that, this will be a perfect square, and I can change this back to what I had here, x minus 5 squared. Okay, so our goal here is to get the expressions like x squared minus 10x and add something to that in a way that it's going to be a perfect square. So let me give you another example. Okay, here I have x squared minus 12x, and we want to change this to a perfect square. So basically, we know that we are missing a term. How do I find this missing term? Here's the deal. If you look at here, this example, we figured out that this middle term is 2 times x times the second term. Now, the second term raised to the power of 2 is giving us the third term over here, basically the one that we're missing. So now, how do I find this missing term? By going backward this way. That means the only thing that you need to do is to take the coefficient of x, let's call that b value, the coefficient of x, and divide it by 2, so you will get this term, and then raise it to the power of 2. So here's, just to make your life easier, here's what you need to do. B to the power of 2, I'm sorry, b over 2 to the power of 2. That's what you need to find here. So what is that? B in this case is negative 12. Divide by 2 is negative 6. Then raised to the power of 2 will be 36. Okay, so once again, b, which is negative 12 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6 raised to the power of 2 is 36. So the third term that we are going to add is 36. Now, if I want to change this to the perfect square form in this way, all I need to do is to write x, and then the next term that is going to be here after that will be the b value that I have here divided by 2. You see, in this case, negative 10 divided by 2 gives you the second term. The coefficient of x divided by 2, that's going to give you negative 5. So the same is here. Negative 12 divided by 2 will give you the second term. So again, to make your life a little bit easier, this is the formula that you use. B over 2, which is negative 6 in this case. So basically the perfect square form of this equation, this expression will be x minus 6 squared. So this is how we change an algebraic expression into complete square. Now, let's go back to the practice that we had here. We want to complete this square that we have here. Let's see how we do that. The first thing that you need to do is to change the terms, switch the terms in a way that all the x's are together and all the y's are together, and the numbers, put them on the right side. So this will be the new form of this equation. X squared minus 10x plus y squared minus 12y. You see, the x terms are together and the y terms are together. And the numbers, we move it to the other side. Now we want to make perfect squares out of this. Look at the first group of the terms that all have x. X squared minus 10x. I can add a number to this so that this changes to a perfect square. What is the number that we can add here? We're going to take the coefficient of x, which is negative 10. That's the b value. So negative 10. And divide it by 2, which is negative 5. Okay. And then raise that to the power of 2, which is 25. This 25 is the number that we are going to add here. Okay, so here I'm going to add 25. But here's the thing. I had an equation here. Something plus something something was equal to something else. But now I'm adding a 25 out of nowhere to this equation. In this way, the left side of the equation will be heavier than the right side. Now they are not balanced anymore. To make the balance, whatever I add here, I'm going to add the same thing to the right side as well. So I added 25. I'm going to add this 25 to this side as well. Okay, so this was the first part. Now the second part, y squared minus 12y. How do I make this a perfect square? Again, I need to find the missing term. That is the b value, which is negative 12 divided by 2. That's negative 6. And then raise that to the power of 2, which is 36. So I'm going to add 36 to these two terms. Once again, because I want to have a balance between the two sides of the equation, I'm going to add the 36 to the right side as well. So we want to be fair, and whatever we do to the left side, we do the same thing to the right side as well. Okay, now let's see how we can make this to the form of x minus h squared. That means a perfect square that looks like, let's say, for example, something like this. Okay, how do I do that? As I said before, if we have x squared minus 10x plus 25 and want to change it to the perfect square, all you need to find is the b value and divide it by 2. So this is what we're going to use in this case. b value is negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So the first part of the equation will be x minus 5 squared. Okay, so this is the first part. Now, how about the second part, which is this one? So the first part was this section, and this is the second part. Y squared minus 12y plus 36. How do I find the perfect square of that? You're just going to write y minus, what is that number that comes after y? It's the b value. In this case is negative 12. Don't forget about the negative. Negative 12 divided by 2, it's negative 6. So it will be x minus 6 to the power of 2. If I had x, or I'm sorry, y minus 6 to the power of 2. If I had y squared plus 12y, then the b value was positive 12 and divided by 2 would be positive. So this would be y plus 6. That means whatever is the sign of the b here, the same is going to be here as well. Anyway, on the right side, I also forgot that I made a mistake. I forgot that if I move the 45 to the other side, I need to put a negative. So I just put the negative here for you. So I have negative 45 plus 25 plus 36. That will be equal to 16. So this will be my equation. If you want, we can also write the 16 as 4 squared, because that's the standard form of the circle equation. You're going to write r to the power of 2. So the 16, you take the square root of that, that will be r, and you write to the power of 2 to show exactly what is happening. So this will be the h and k, 5 and 6 are h and k of the center, and the radius is 4. Now let's practice one more example here. So we have x squared plus y squared minus 2x plus 16y. So the first thing that we do is to put all the x's together, all the y's together, and the numbers on the other side, which in this case 56 is already on the other side. So let's put everything in order. Now we will have x squared minus 2x plus y squared plus 16y. So the x's are together, the y's are together. The number is also on the other side. Now, we're going to look at the first part, which has all the x's. We want to find the missing term. What is the missing term? You're going to find that by taking the b value, which is negative 2, divided by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is equal to negative 1. And then raise that to the power of 2. So it's b over 2 squared, which is equal to 1. So the missing term for the first part is 1. Okay, x squared minus 2x plus 1. That's the first one. Now the second one, y squared plus 16y. The b value is 16. Divide by 2 is 8. Raised to the power of 2 is 64. So it will be y squared plus 16y plus 64. Now, because I added 1 and 64 to the left side, to keep the balance, we're going to add that to the right side as well. So it will be 56 plus 1 plus 64. Now I'm ready to make my perfect squares. The first one, this one, will change to x, and to find the negative, the next term, you're going to take the b value and divide it by 2. This is the second term, b over 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. And for the second one, again, take the b value, divide by 2, 8, and just simply write that after y. And also we're going to add the numbers here and write them. Okay, so here's my final equation. As we said, the first one will be changed to x minus 1 squared, because the negative 1 is the b value divided by 2. The second one, b value divided by 2 is 8. So this will be y plus 8 squared. And if you add all these numbers, they will be 121, which is 11 squared. So the center of this circle is 1 and the negative 8. So let me write that for you here. Center is 1 and negative 8. And the radius is 11. So this example has the graph of the circle, and we want to find the equation of the circle. If you look at the circle, you will see that the center of the circle is at negative 2 and 6. Negative 2 and 6. So this is the center. Then we also need to find the radius of the circle. Radius is the distance between the center and the perimeter of the circle. So to find this distance, you can just look at the x values of these points. This point, x value is at negative 2. X of this point is 3. The distance between them from here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the radius is 5. Now, to write the equation, simply use the standard form. X minus h squared, which is x minus negative 2, that will be x plus 2 squared. And then y minus k, which is 6, so this will be y minus 6 squared, equal to r squared, which is 5. So this will be the equation. Now, let's see what is the next example. We have a circle that has a center at 1 and 4, and it's going to pass through this point, negative 3 and 7. So let's graph these points and see how it looks like. Okay, so we have the center at 1 and 4, and the other point, which is on the perimeter of the circle, is at negative 3 and 7. So basically, we have a circle that looks like this. Center is 1 and 4 and passes through this point. So this is what we have. Now, what do we need to know? We need to know the center, which is h and k, and that is already given. H and k are already given to us, 1 and 4. So we're good for the left side of the equation. We just need to find the radius. Now, what is the radius? That is the distance between the center and the perimeter, or this point which is on perimeter. So if you find this distance, we will be able to find the radius. So how do I find this distance? You can look at the circle and the coordinate of these points. If you draw a straight line, horizontal straight line from here to this point, right, and the line below of this point, and a vertical line this way. If you find the horizontal distance between these 2 points and the vertical distance between them, you can find these two sides, and then we can use Pythagorean theorem to find the hypotenuse of this right triangle. So you see we made a right triangle, and using Pythagorean theorem, we can find the other side. Now, how do I find the horizontal distance between these 2 points? Just subtract basically the y value. I'm sorry, for the horizontal distance, subtract the x values. So 1 minus negative 3, that's going to be 4. 1 minus negative 3 is 1 plus negative 3, it's 4. Or you can also look at that here. The bottom, you have 1, 2, 3, and 1, another 1 here. That will be 4 units. So the horizontal distance is 4. For the vertical distance, you can subtract the y value, 7 minus 4, and that's 3. Or you can also look at the graph. We have 1, 2, 3 units between these 2 points. So it's 3 and 4. Now, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find this r. Okay, so r squared will be 3 squared plus 4 squared, and that will be 9 plus 16, which is 25, and 25 is 5 squared. That means the radius is 5. Okay, so the radius is 5. Now, how do I write the equation? X minus h squared. H is 1, so that will be x minus 1 squared. And then y minus k, the k is 4, so it will be plus y minus 4 squared equal to the radius to the power of 2, 5 squared. So this will be the equation of this center. Okay, now let's go to the next one. This time we have a circle that we have the diameter endpoints at -1 and 1 and 7 and 9. So let's graph these points first. Okay, so here are the 2 points, -1 and 1 and 7 and 9. So these 2 points are the endpoints of the diameter. You know, diameter is the line which is passing through the center of the circle and from both sides is touching the perimeter, like this one, for example. This is a diameter, or this one is diameter. And we know diameter is 2 times the radius. Okay, so in this case, this line that we have here that connects those 2 points is the diameter. That means the center of the circle is going to be right in the middle of this line, and then the circle is going to be something like this, a circle that has the center and passes through these 2 points. So it's going to be something like this. Now, from this shape, I need to find the radius, which is half of this diameter. If I find the distance between these 2 points, the length of this line, that will give me the, and divided by 2, that's going to be the radius of the circle. So we're going to start from there, and in order to find the radius, the same way that we did before, we're going to draw a horizontal line and also a vertical line in this way, so we can find the horizontal distance and the vertical distance between these 2 points. Horizontal distance, just subtract the x value, 7 minus -1, that's 8. So 8 is this line. Okay, this is 8. You could also count the points because we have 7 on the right and 1 on the left. 7 plus 1 is 8, so this is 8 units. Now, how do I find the vertical distance? Again, subtract the y values. 9 minus 1, that's also 8. Now I can find the hypotenuse using Pythagorean theorem again. So 8 squared plus 8 squared, that's going to give us the diameter to the power of 2. Okay. Okay, so d squared equal to 8 squared plus 8 squared equal to 128. So 8 squared plus 8 squared is 128. Now, what is d? That is the square root of 128. This is the diameter of this circle. Now, what is the radius? That's diameter divided by 2. So we found the diameter. Now we need to find the center. So what is the center? That's basically the midpoint between these 2 points. And we already know to find the midpoint of the line, to find the midpoint between the 2 points, 2 given points, all you need to do is to add the x values divided by 2. That's going to be the x of midpoint. And add the y values divided by 2. That will be the y of the midpoint. So we have the x values, -1 and 7. Add them, divide by 2. It's 6 divided by 2, 3. Then the y values, 1 and 9. Add them. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So this is going to be the x of the midpoint, and this one will be the y of the midpoint. So the x's add together, divide by 2 for the x of midpoint. Y's add them and then divide by 2. That's going to be y of the midpoint. Anyway, so we find it, and the circle has this center. Now we can easily write the equation. Use the standard form of the equation of the center. Okay, so we have x minus h, which is 3 squared, plus y minus k, that's 5. So it will be y minus 5 squared equal to, the radius is root 128 divided by 2 raised to the power of 2. So it's r squared. Now we're going to simplify that. Square root of 128 to the power of 2 is 128, and 2 to the power of 2 is 4. 128 divided by 4 is 32. So this is the equation. X minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equal to 32. So this was today's lesson. Have a great day.